The War Council chamber aboard the dreadnought Valerius smelled like overcooked ambition and terrible decisions. Commander Thex-9 stood at the holographic display, his 4 arms crossed in what he believed was an intimidating pose. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. "Gentlemen," he announced, his voice dripping with the kind of confidence that usually precedes catastrophic failure. "Today we claim Earth." The assembled officers chittered their approval. 20 cycles of conquest had made the Valkyrie Armada legendary. 47 worlds had fallen before their might. Entire civilizations had surrendered at the mere sight of their warships descending through atmospheric layers. Earth would be number 48. Simple, right? Wrong. Sub-Commander Krall, a younger officer with disturbingly optimistic eye stalks, pulled up the preliminary scans. "Sir, initial reconnaissance shows the humans are primitive. They still use combustion engines. Fossil fuels. Their space program barely reaches their own moon." "Pathetic," Thex-9 muttered. "What about military capabilities?" "Fragmented," Krall continued, his mandibles clicking with barely suppressed glee. "No unified planetary defense. Multiple competing nations. They fight amongst themselves more than they cooperate. Perfect. The Valkyrie specialized in divided worlds. Unity was difficult to break. Chaos. Chaos was an invitation. And their warriors?" another officer asked. Krall hesitated. Just for a moment. Just long enough that anyone paying attention might have noticed. Nobody was paying attention. "Adequate," he said finally. "Physical strength comparable to Tarnaxian shock troops. Decent tactical thinking. Nothing we haven't encountered before." Thex-9's primary eyes gleamed. "Prepare the invasion force. 3 battalions should suffice. We'll establish a beachhead at their largest population centers, demonstrate our superiority, and accept their inevitable surrender within 72 hours. The plan was flawless. Absolutely flawless. Which should have been the first warning sign. The Valkyrie didn't believe in excessive force. Why waste resources on overwhelming power when calculated superiority worked just fine? 3 battalions, approximately 9,000 troops, supported by atmospheric fighters and orbital bombardment capabilities. More than enough. They dropped on a Tuesday. Why humans had named their planetary rotation cycles remained a mystery, but Tuesday apparently meant something to them. The invasion force materialized over 5 major cities simultaneously. Beijing. New York. London. Mumbai. Sao Paulo. Textbook shock and awe. Thex-9 watched from orbit, his command chair warm beneath him, a hot beverage of questionable origin steaming in one hand. "Status report," he commanded. "Ground forces engaging," Krall responded. "Initial resistance is." "Hold on. Hold on." Thex-9's eye stalks twitched. "What do you mean, hold on?" "Sir, Beijing Battalion reports they're encountering heavier resistance than expected. The humans aren't retreating. They're laughing. Laughing. Yes, sir. Our translators confirm. Laughter. And shouting. Something about, finally, and alien invaders, and I told you, Karen, I told you. Thex-9's beverage suddenly tasted less appealing. Casualties? 17 of ours. 43 of theirs. But sir, the ratio is wrong. It should be 10 to 1 in our favor, minimum. Adjust tactics. Increase pressure. The next report came faster. Too fast. New York Battalion requesting reinforcements. They've encountered organized resistance. Military and civilians working together. Sir, the civilians have weapons. Lots of weapons. That's impossible. Our intelligence showed strict weapon regulations in that region. Apparently, Krall said slowly, not strict enough. London fell into unexpected chaos. The Valkyrie troops advanced through ancient streets, expecting panic. Instead, they found improvised barricades, coordinated ambushes, and an alarming number of humans who seemed to view the invasion as a personal insult requiring immediate violent correction. Mumbai turned into a nightmare of close-quarters combat. The Valkyrie excelled in open warfare. Urban fighting against an enemy that knew every alley, every rooftop, every basement. Different story. Sao Paulo went quiet. Just quiet. Which was somehow worse than the chaos everywhere else. Sir, Kral's voice had lost its optimistic tone. We need to talk about Sao Paulo. What about Sao Paulo? The entire battalion stopped transmitting. Stopped. Completely. Last transmission was, "What's that sound?" followed by screaming and something that sounded like music. Thex9 stood. His beverage forgotten. His confidence evaporating faster than water on Mercury. Define music. Loud. Rhythmic. Aggressive. Our cultural database suggests it's called samba, mixed with funk, and sir, I really think we should consider evacuation procedures. Evacuation? We just arrived. Then the first distress beacon activated. Battalion 3, New York Sector. Then another. Beijing. Then London. Mumbai went dark entirely, which was somehow more terrifying than the distress calls. On the ground in New York, squad leader Vex-12 crouched behind what humans called a taxi cab. Yellow paint. Dented metal. Smelled like ancient regrets and broken dreams. His squad was down to 4 soldiers. They'd started with 12. This wasn't supposed to happen, his second muttered, plasma rifle tracking movement across the intersection. A human appeared. Female. Average height. Dark hair pulled back. Athletic build. Carrying what their database identified as an M4 carbine. Standard military issue. Nothing special. She saw them. Made eye contact. Smiled. Smiled. Contact. Vex-12 shouted, firing. His plasma bolt cut through the air where she'd been standing 1.3 seconds earlier. She moved like liquid violence. Rolled behind a vehicle. Fired 3 rounds. Precise. Calculated. One shot disabled their portable shield generator. The second killed his communications officer. The third was a warning, sparking off the pavement centimeters from his foot. Fall back, he screamed. They ran. Professional soldiers of the Valkyrie Armada. Conquerors of 47 worlds. Running from one human with a rifle and absolutely zero fear. She didn't pursue. Just watched them go. Then spoke into her radio. Echo 6 to command. Got 3 more running south on 5th. Someone want to pick them up? Copy that, Echo 6, a male voice responded. Fire teams in position. Hey, you still keeping score? 14 confirmed. You. 12. Drinks are on you. In your dreams, Martinez. Vex-12 heard the exchange through his damaged translator. Keeping score. They were keeping score. Like this was a game. Like the Valkyrie Armada was entertainment. He made it 3 more blocks before the ambush. Humans dropped from buildings. Emerged from sewers. Appeared from absolutely nowhere with that peculiar talent they had for being where you least expected. The firefight lasted 47 seconds. Vex-12 surrendered. So did his surviving squad members. Not because they were cowards. But because the alternative was death, and even Valkyrie soldiers understood basic mathematics. The humans zip-tied their appendages. Professional. Efficient. Almost bored. Command, this is Striker 2-1, the squad leader reported. For processing. Injuries minimal. They learn quick, I'll give them that. Roger, Striker 2-1. Bring them to collection point Gamma. We're running out of room at the other sites. Processing. Collection points. The humans had prepared for this. Not hoped. Not theorized. Prepared. Aboard the Valerius, Thex-9 stared at casualty reports that made absolutely no sense. 3,000 dead. 1,500 captured. The rest scattered, disorganized, desperately requesting extraction. 72 hours into the invasion. Except the timeline was wrong. This was Hour 8. Hour 8. Get me Earth Military Command, he ordered. Which one, sir? Any of them. The connection established. An older human appeared on screen. Male. Gray hair. Uniform decorated with incomprehensible symbols. Expression somewhere between annoyed and amused. This is General Marcus Hayes, United States Northern Command. I assume you're calling to discuss terms. Thex-9's translator struggled with the concept. Terms? You're offering surrender. Hayes actually laughed. Full body. Genuine amusement. Oh, that's adorable. No. You're surrendering. I'm just being polite by letting you do it with dignity. We have orbital superiority. We could glass your entire planet. You could try, Hayes agreed. Course, that would require your ship staying in orbit. Which they won't. See, about 30 minutes ago, we launched some hardware your sensors probably classified as primitive. Kinetic kill vehicles. Chemical rockets. Real caveman stuff. Those can't reach us. They're not aiming for you. They're aiming for where you're going to be. Our mathematicians ran the numbers. Orbital mechanics are tricky, aren't they? Limited maneuvering. Predictable trajectories. You've got about 6 minutes before the first wave arrives. 12 minutes until the second. After that? Hayes shrugged. Well, we've got a lot of rockets. And a lot of very angry people who just had their Tuesday interrupted. Thex-9 checked his displays. Confirmed the trajectory data. Felt his confidence die completely. You're insane. We're protective, Hayes corrected. There's a difference. Now, here's what's going to happen. You're going to recall every soldier you dropped on my planet. You're going to do it in the next 4 minutes. Then you're going to leave our system and never come back. In exchange, we'll return your people. Eventually. After we've had some very interesting conversations about your technology, your empire, and why you thought invading Earth was a good idea. And if we refuse? Hayes leaned forward. Then we introduce you to a concept we call spite. It's amazing what humans accomplish when we're angry. We've turned spite into an art form. A science. A religion. You really don't want to find out what happens when 4 billion angry humans decide you're the problem that needs solving. 4 billion. Give or take. Turns out people get real cooperative when aliens show up. Who knew? The first kinetic projectile struck the dreadnought Valorius's shields at 0600 hours. The shields held. Barely. The second projectile arrived 7 seconds later. Different vector. Different velocity. Designed specifically to exploit the shield fluctuation caused by the first impact. The shields failed. The third projectile was just insult to injury at that point. Thex-9 gave the evacuation order. Every battalion. Immediate extraction. Orbital retreat to minimum safe distance. The Valkyrie Armada, conquerors of 47 worlds, fled Earth after 8 hours and 43 minutes. They left behind 3,000 dead. 1,500 prisoners. And their reputation. The extraction was chaos wrapped in humiliation and served with a side of absolute panic. Valkyrie transports screamed through Earth's atmosphere, dodging missiles that had no business being that accurate. Human fighters, primitive jets burning fossil fuels, harassed the retreating ships with weapons that shouldn't have penetrated Valkyrie armor. Shouldn't have. Did anyway. Captain Vorn 6 piloted his transport through a hailstorm of tracer fire, his cargo bay packed with surviving soldiers who looked like they'd seen the universe end. Maybe they had. The universe where Valkyrie supremacy meant something. Command, this is Transport 41 requesting priority docking. I've got wounded and we're leaking atmosphere. Negative, 41. Docking bays are full. Hold position. Hold position. We're being shot at. Everyone's being shot at. Wait your turn. A human missile streaked past his viewport, missing by meters. Vorn 6 swore in 3 languages, none of them polite. Behind him, in the cargo bay, squad leader Vex 12 sat against the bulkhead, watching younger soldiers shake with something between shock and disbelief. He'd survived. Barely. The humans had released him during the evacuation, practically shoved him toward the transport ships with a message. Tell your friends, the human soldier had said. Female. Same one from the street. Echo 6. Earth's closed. Permanently. Now, safely aboard the Valerius, what remained of the invasion force gathered in the main hangar. 3,000 bodies left behind on Earth. 1,500 prisoners still in human custody. The rest stood in formation, trying to look like professional soldiers instead of beaten dogs. Thex 9 descended from his command deck, all 4 arms rigid with suppressed rage. Or maybe fear. Hard to tell with Valkyrie physiology. Report, he demanded. Battalion Commander Grix 3 stepped forward. His armor was scorched. One eye stalk hung limp. He'd been in Mumbai. Sir, the humans were prepared. Not just militarily. Psychologically. They'd been waiting for this. Training for this. They have entire cultural phenomena dedicated to alien invasion scenarios. Films. Literature. Games. They've spent generations imagining how to kill us. That's impossible. Statistically, first contact should produce panic. Disorganization. Fear. They were afraid, Grix 3 confirmed. Then they got angry. Sir, humans don't process fear the same way we do. They don't freeze. They don't flee. They weaponize it. Turn it into aggression. Into focus. I watched a civilian, a shopkeeper, take down 3 of my soldiers with a homemade explosive device built from common household materials. She was 73 cycles old. Thex 9's mandibles clicked. Casualties? 52%. Of those who survived, 87% sustained injuries. 17% require psychological intervention. They're calling it trauma, but honestly sir, I think it's just clarity. We finally met something scarier than us. Sub-Commander Krall approached, datapad clutched in his primary appendage. Sir, I've compiled intelligence from the engagement. You need to see this. The holographic display activated, showing combat footage from multiple battalions. Thex 9 watched his soldiers, the best warriors the Valkyrie Armada could field, getting systematically dismantled by humans who fought like they'd invented violence and held the patent. One clip showed a human male, unarmed, tackling a fully armored Valkyrie soldier and beating him unconscious with his own helmet. Another showed a group of civilians forming a defensive line with improvised weapons, holding off an entire squad long enough for military forces to arrive. The footage from Sao Paulo was particularly disturbing. What am I watching? Thex 9 asked. Sir, that's Battalion 2. They encountered local resistance in the form of organized civilian militias. Plus something the humans call favela residents. Turns out people who've spent generations surviving urban poverty develop excellent combat instincts. Our soldiers never stood a chance. The video showed Valkyrie troops being led into narrow alleys, separated, picked off by fighters who knew every centimeter of terrain. The music in the background, that aggressive samba-funk combination, seemed to coordinate their movements. Like they were dancing. Dancing while winning. "Turn it off," Vex 9 ordered. The hologram died. Silence filled the hangar. Thousands of soldiers, nobody speaking. What was there to say? They'd invaded Earth expecting an easy conquest and got a master class in humility instead. "Sir," Krall continued quietly. "There's something else. During the extraction, we intercepted human communications. Military and civilian channels. They're not celebrating." "What?" "They're disappointed, sir. Apparently, they were hoping for a longer engagement. Multiple units reported humans actively trying to prevent our soldiers from reaching extraction points. Not to kill them. To capture them. To keep fighting. Sir, I think they were having fun." Vex 9 felt something cold settle in his primary stomach. Define fun. Enjoyment. Entertainment. Several intercepted communications referenced keeping score. Competitions between units. One human pilot was heard saying, and I quote, "That's it. 8 hours. I took time off work for this." In the prisoner-holding area on Earth, somewhere in the Colorado mountains, 1,500 Valkyrie soldiers sat in climate-controlled cells, receiving adequate food, medical attention, and something far worse than torture. Questions. Dr. Emily Vasquez walked the corridor between cells, tablet in hand, making notes. Xenobiology wasn't her specialty. Xenopsychology definitely wasn't. But somebody had to interview the prisoners, and apparently, she'd drawn the short straw. Or maybe the best straw. Hard to tell. She stopped at cell block 7. Inside, 5 Valkyrie soldiers sat in various states of dejection. The one called Vex 12 looked up as she approached. "Good afternoon," she said pleasantly. "How's everyone feeling?" No response. Which was fine. She hadn't expected cooperation immediately. "I'm Dr. Vasquez. I'm here to ask some questions. Nothing invasive. Just trying to understand your perspective. Mind if I sit?" She sat anyway, outside the cell, close enough to talk, far enough to be safe. Not that she thought they'd attack. These soldiers had that 1,000-yard stare every veteran recognized. They'd seen something that changed them. "So," she continued. 47 worlds before Earth. That's impressive. What made Earth look attractive?" Vex 12's translator crackled. "Divided. Primitive. Easy. Ah. Yeah, I can see how you'd think that. We do fight amongst ourselves a lot. But here's the thing about humans. We're really good at setting aside differences when something threatens all of us. It's kind of our superpower. That and spite." "Spite?" "Yeah. Spite. Like, maybe we can't win, but we'll make damn sure you regret fighting us. Scorched earth. Pyrrhic victories. Mutual destruction. We've got concepts for losing so hard that the winner wishes they hadn't won. It's a whole thing." Vex 12's eye stalks focused on her. "Why are you telling me this?" "Professional courtesy. Also because you're going home eventually." "Probably. And when you do, you'll tell your superiors what happened here. What you learned. And maybe, just maybe, they'll decide Earth isn't worth the trouble. You spared us. After defeating us. Why?" Vasquez smiled. "Because killing prisoners is a war crime. We've got rules about this stuff. Weird, right? We're violent, sure. But we're also big on moral philosophy. Justice. Rights. We contain multitudes. Makes us confusing. Also dangerous." Another prisoner spoke up. The female soldier. Echo 6. She could have killed us. She let us go. Yeah, that's Captain Reina Okoye. She's got 17 confirmed kills this engagement. Could have been 21 if she'd wanted. But she follows rules of engagement. Soldiers who surrender don't get shot. That's the deal. She was smiling. Well, yeah. She's been training for alien invasion scenarios since she was 12. Read every book. Watched every movie. Joined the military specifically for this possibility. Today was basically her childhood dream come true. Of course she smiled. The Valkyrie exchanged looks that transcended species. Universal understanding. They'd been defeated by someone who considered them entertainment. You're all insane, Vex 12 said finally. Probably, Vasquez agreed cheerfully. But we're insane in consistent, predictable ways. Learn the patterns, you can work with us. Try to conquer us. Well, you saw how that goes. Aboard the Valerius, now safely beyond Earth's orbital weapon range, Vex 9 faced the worst part of military failure. Reporting to High Command. The communication channel opened. Fleet Admiral Dax Prime appeared, all 7 of his eye stalks focused with uncomfortable intensity. Explain, Dax Prime said. One word. Infinite disappointment. Vex 9 explained. The invasion. The resistance. The casualties. The retreat. Every humiliating detail. To his credit, he didn't try to minimize or excuse. Just reported facts. Dax Prime listened. Absorbed. Processed. They beat you in 8 hours. Yes, sir. With primitive weapons. Primitive but effective, sir. And now they have 1,500 prisoners. Our soldiers. Our technology. Our tactical data. Yes, sir. Dax Prime was quiet for approximately 17 seconds. Then, Earth is hereby designated a Class Omega threat. All Valkyrie vessels are prohibited from entering their system. Furthermore, recommend to the Galactic Council that Earth be granted provisional protected status pending formal diplomatic contact. Sir, that's unprecedented. We've never classified a pre-contact civilization as Omega threat level. We've never encountered a pre-contact civilization that beat a full invasion force before lunch. Earth is different. Accept it. The channel closed. Vex 9 stood alone on his command deck, staring at Earth through the view screen. Beautiful planet. Blue oceans. Green continents. Swirling white clouds. Deadly as a neutron star and twice as unpredictable. Sir, Krall approached cautiously. What do we do now? Now. Vex 9 considered. Now we go home. We report. We make absolutely certain every species in the galaxy knows what happened here. Not as a warning against humans. As a warning about underestimating them. You think they'll come looking for us? Eventually. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe in 100 cycles. But they'll come. Humans don't think small. They'll build faster ships. Better weapons. They'll figure out how we found them and they'll follow that path outward. And when they arrive? Vex 9's mandibles clicked softly. We better hope they remember we retreated. That we didn't glass their planet when we could have. That we returned their prisoners. You think they'll be grateful? I think they'll be curious. And humanity plus curiosity? He gestured at the casualty report still scrolling across his screen. That's more dangerous than any weapon we carry. On Earth, in the Situation Room deep beneath Washington, General Hayes addressed the Joint Chiefs and representatives from every major nation. The invasion was over. Time for assessment. Casualty report, he requested. Military, 417 dead. Civilian, 932. Infrastructure damage minimal. Most fighting occurred in contained urban zones. We got lucky. Lucky, Hayes repeated. We fought off an alien invasion force in less than 9 hours and you call it luck? Sir, they held back. Could have bombarded from orbit. Didn't. Could have used chemical weapons. Didn't. They invaded like they expected easy victory and adjusted too slowly when we proved otherwise. So they underestimated us. Severely. Hayes nodded. Good. Let's make sure everyone else does too. I want our actual defensive capabilities kept classified. No bragging. No detailed reports. If another species comes looking, I want them to make the same mistakes the Valkyrie did. You think there'll be others? After this? Absolutely. Word will spread. Some species will avoid us. Others will see us as a challenge. Either way, Earth just became very interesting to the galaxy. He paused. Get me Captain Okoye. Reyna appeared on screen minutes later, still in combat gear, looking tired but satisfied. General. Captain. Hell of a day. Yes, sir. Hell of a day. Your team performed exceptionally. 17 confirmed kills. 4 captures. 0 friendly casualties. I'm recommending you for commendation. Appreciated, sir. But honestly, it felt too easy. They weren't prepared for urban combat. Weren't prepared for defenders who'd spent their entire lives training for exactly this scenario. We had every advantage except technology. And yet you won. We adapted faster. Thought quicker. Wanted it more. She smiled, exhausted but genuine. Also, they really didn't expect us to enjoy it. That threw them off balance. Hard to fight people who are having fun killing you. Hayes laughed. Get some rest, Captain. Something tells me this is just the beginning. The channel closed. Alone in his office, Hayes stared at classified reports about Valkyrie technology, prisoners, and the implications of first contact achieved through violence. Humanity had just announced itself to the galaxy. Not through radio signals or peaceful exploration. Through victory. They'd sent their best. Earth sent them back. Broken. Defeated. Carrying a message that would echo across every civilized world. Humanity was here. Humanity was dangerous. And humanity was absolutely, terrifyingly interested in saying hello to the neighbors. Properly this time. With better weapons.